The history of planet Earth, a poetic, sleep-inducing journey through 4.5 billion years of transformation. Chapter 1. When Earth was only dust and dreams. You are floating now, slowly, gently, in a place where time has no edges. There is no Earth. Beneath you yet, no rivers, no trees, no footsteps, no sky to look up at, and no ground to fall toward. Only space, vast, cold, ancient, and yet so full of quiet motion. The stars are not what you know them to be. They are young here, still learning to burn, still finding their glow, and all around you, drifting like grains of thought through. The dark are pieces of something not yet born. These are the whispers that will become your planet. Tiny particles, smaller than your breath, spin slowly in circles around a newborn sun. They are dust and ash, yes, but not lifeless, not meaningless. Each one carries the memory of something older, a supernova's sigh, a dying star's last gift. They are ashes from ancient fires, floating toward their next beginning, and now you drift through them, weightless. You don't need to move. The dust moves around you, with you, through you, like a wind that hasn't been named yet. A silent dance in the dark. Breathe in, and now imagine this. Those tiny grains, spinning faster, colliding gently at first, like snowflakes in still air, then harder, then warmer, until friction kindles heat, and pressure kindles purpose. What was once drifting begins to gather. Slowly, purposefully. These collisions don't happen in minutes or days. They happen over eons. Thousands of years pass between each soft impact. But time, here, is like a river made of velvet. It moves slowly enough for you to rest your head against dot. As the dust collects, pebbles form, then boulders, then mountain-sized hunks of rock and ice, crashing and sticking and shattering and growing. Gravity pulls them in, always in, like a cradle pulling its blankets tight. And in the very center of this slow-spinning storm, something round begins to form. It's not your Earth yet. It's a mess of molten metal and jagged stone. There are no oceans, no clouds, no colors beyond grays and reds and the deep black of space, but this lump of chaos and heat is becoming something. It spins slowly at first, then faster. The heat in its center grows, unbearable, glowing like an ember that doesn't know it's a seed. And still more matter rains down, crashing into the surface with unimaginable force. Each impact sends waves of liquid rock across the young world. It is violent, yes, but from this violence, something extraordinary begins to unfold. You, drifting above it all, feel none of the chaos. You feel the rhythm of birth, a soft, slow heartbeat in the dark. Thump, thump, thump. This is how worlds begin. The early Earth, if it had a face, would be unrecognizable to you. It's not a pale blue dot, not yet. It's a ball of molten fire, wrapped in a haze of vapor and ash. It hums with heat. It moans with motion. It is, in every way, alive with becoming dot. And as you hover there, as you float through the memory of the beginning, you might feel something else. Familiarity, because your own body, the one now sinking deeper into the bed or blanket beneath, you is built from the same elements that formed here. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the carbon in every breath you take. They all come from this chaos, from the stardust that circled and collided and caught fire and cooled. You are not separate from this origin. You are a continuation of it, a quieter part of the same song, And just as earth gathered from dust, so too do you settle into comfort, into stillness. Now imagine this, a single collision, long ago, so vast it changed everything. A planet-sized object slams into the young Earth, tilting it, melting it further, scattering debris into orbit. From that ring of wreckage, another body forms, smaller, but forever tethered. The moon is born. Not from nothing, but from Earth's own torn skin. And now, in this newborn sky, the moon drifts silently, a partner, a witness, a keeper of tides and time. You look at it now, perhaps, through your window, but here, in this beginning, it is still glowing with heat, still cooling, still finding its shape. Everything is so quiet now, no wind, no waves, just the echo of fire settling into form. You can feel that warmth, can't you? Not on your skin, but somewhere deeper, in your breath, in your chest. That knowing that the earth didn't just appear fully made. It formed slowly, patiently, like an artist sculpting stone with fire. The crust of the earth begins to harden, not all at once, but enough for a fragile skin to form over the lava seas. It will break again, many times, but for now it holds, just barely. You rest now, just above that early shell, drifting like mist, and even though there is no life here yet, no plants or oceans or clouds, you begin to sense a promise, a feeling, that this world, chaotic as it is, holds the possibility of quiet, the quiet you are sinking into now. Let your thoughts melt into this stillness. Let the image of early Earth settle behind your eyes, glowing red, spinning slowly, humming with hidden potential. You are safe here, held in gravity's arms, wrapped in cosmic blankets. The Earth was once only dust, and dreams, and now it dreams of you. Breathe in again, feel how ancient that breath is, and let it carry you gently into the next story. Chapter 2. Fire beneath a newborn sky. Earth turns slowly beneath you, not the calm blue world you know, but something still raw, still glowing. You drift now through a world wrapped in fire beneath you. The crust that formed like a thin skin in silence is cracking. The earth is still too hot to be still. It churns from the inside, reshaping itself with molten hands. There is no sunrise yet, no birdsong, no green dot, only heat and motion, and the soundless breath of stone. The ground moves in slow, powerful pulses. Beneath the thin crust, molten rock pushes upward, searching for escape. It finds cracks, weaknesses, and spills out, glowing and bright, like veins of light in a dark canvas. You hover above lava oceans. Vast plains of liquid fire ripple across the planet's surface. They hiss and steam when they touch the air, though even the air itself is not yet kind. The atmosphere is thick and strange, filled with volcanic gases. Carbon dioxide, sulfur, water vapor, heavy and hot. You can't see through it clearly. It's a world inside a furnace, and yet you are not afraid, because here, in this chaos, there is something sacred, something familiar. The earth is not breaking, it is building. This is how all foundations are formed, through pressure, through fire, through slow, patient transformation. You float through rising pillars of smoke, feeling their warmth in your breath, though your body lies still and quiet. The sky glows orange, then red, then a deep, heavy purple. Not from sunlight, but from the constant eruption of the planet's own heart. Volcanoes stretch upward like growing thoughts. Some erupt in fountains of fire, others ooze, slow and deliberate. Each one reshapes the land, lays down a new layer of memory, and below that land always is more fire. You begin to sense the movement underneath. The mantle, thick and flowing like honey in slow motion, churns with energy. The crust, solid but thin, rides on this movement. It buckles, it bends, it splits and spreads. This, long before tectonic plates had names. The continents have not yet been born. The earth is a scattered puzzle, still learning its shape. But already, deep within, the pieces are shifting into place. The moon still hangs above, closer now than it will be in your time. It tugs at the planet gently, causing tides, not of water, but of molten rock. The two bodies, earth and moon, are locked in a quiet gravity dance, shaping each other without words. And all around, the sky is dark, not empty, but deep, rich, pregnant with stars and radiation, but invisible through the smoky atmosphere. No constellations here, no moonlight paths, just ash and vapor and light from fire below. And yet, somewhere in that choking sky, something else begins to stir. Rain, not gentle drops, like those that tap against windows. These are heavy, hissing sheets that fall through sulfur clouds and vanish against lava seas. The first rains on earth. You listen as they fall, not with music, but with meaning. They are not yet the waters of life, but they are the beginning of change. The rain cools the lava. It hardens rock. It carves the earliest shapes into the surface. Small valleys, deep cracks, sudden rivers of steam. Over thousands of years, the rains continue. They fall again and again, slowly thinning the thick gases in the sky. Sulfur settles, carbon finds stone, steam rises and clears. Each drop reshapes the atmosphere. Each moment rewrites the air you'll someday breathe. The sky is not yet blue, but it is learning to be, and all the while, the fire doesn't stop. You drift now above a young volcanic island, still forming. Its surface hisses as lava touches the cooling rain. Rock forms under your feet, rough, black, glistening. You watch as each new eruption adds a little more, as if the earth is painting itself. Stroke by stroke, this is the canvas of your planet, and it does not rush. Thousands of years pass in a single breath, millions perhaps. You don't feel the time. You feel only the slow motion of making. You look again at the land, solidifying now, cooling in places, cracking in others. New volcanoes rise, while old ones collapse. The crust thickens, slowly. Beneath it, the core of the earth begins to take its shape, dense, metallic, spinning. It is here, deep below your feet, that the magnetic field will someday be born. Not today, not yet, but the pieces are falling into place. The earth is layering itself like a story, one chapter at a time. Molten core, liquid mantle, solid crust, heavy air, and slowly, cooler rain. You are watching a planet right itself, and as the rains fall, they begin to linger. Pools form, cracks fill, steam no longer rises as quickly, water stays, not much but enough to feel the difference. The surface is still hot in many places, still alive with flame, but here and there, on higher ground or hardened stone, tiny puddles remain after the storm. These are not yet oceans, not yet lakes, but they are the seeds. Imagine touching that water. It would still sizzle against your skin, but it is changing, becoming, preparing to hold more. And you, floating now in this stillness, are witnessing the preparation for life. The fire carved the land, the rain carved the silence, and now, for the first time, both begin to coexist. Breathe in again. Let your breath mimic the cycle, heat and cool, rise and fall, like the tides that will someday come, like the breath of every creature that will someday walk. You may feel distant from this moment in time, but you are not. Your own blood holds the memory of this fire. Your own lungs are shaped by the rains that fell here first. You are made of this story, and as your thoughts drift, not quickly, but in spirals, you settle into the idea that becoming takes time. Worlds do not appear ready-made. They struggle, they burn, they break and remake themselves again and again. And from that effort, something beautiful grows. You're beginning to feel that now, not in words, but in rhythm. The rhythm of a planet that endured heat to create balance. A rhythm you carry even now. As you sink deeper into sleep, the fires still glow in the distance, but above them, the sky is changing. Tomorrow, you will drift into the rains that never stopped falling, and into the waters that held the first quiet signs of life. But for now, let the glow of the fire warm your thoughts, and sleep in the softness of a world that forged itself from flame. Chapter 3. Rain that lasted 1,000 years. You are resting now, wrapped in warmth and silence, and above the young earth, the sky begins to open, not with lightning, not with thunder, but with the slow sigh of clouds, heavy, full, eternal. The fires that once danced across Earth's surface begin to quiet. The lava flows cool, their brightness dimming to stone, and in that growing stillness, the atmosphere stirs with something new. Rain, not the kind you know now, not drops tapping, gently on rooftops. This rain is vast, endless, a curtain of falling sky that begins and does not stop. You drift above it now, floating just below thick clouds that stretch for thousands of miles. They are darker than storm clouds, not grey, but black, pregnant. With vapor, swollen with time, the temperature drops, slowly. The Earth's surface, once scorched and glowing, begins to harden. Steam rises in thick plumes where water touches rock, and yet the rain continues. This is the long rain, a storm, that lasts not hours, but centuries. Thousands upon thousands of years, and you are here for it still. Quiet, patient, you hover above a plain of solidified lava. Puddles are forming in every crack and hollow. At first, they hiss and vanish into mist, but the sky does not stop. It keeps falling. Drop by heavy drop, the puddles become pools. The pools become streams. The streams begin to find each other, carving soft, silvery lines through the dark rock. The surface of your earth, for the first time, begins to glisten, not with fire, but with water. Breathe with it now. The air is thick, but cooling. The clouds swirl in slow spirals, weaving moisture into every breath of wind. It is not yet safe for life, but it is preparing to be. You drift higher through the clouds and glance back toward the planet's curve. From above, Earth is no longer glowing red. It's grey now, wrapped in vapor, its contours soft and uncertain. But beneath that mist, change is happening. Water is a quiet sculptor. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand. It moves patiently, insistently, wearing down the sharpest edges over time. Even now, the first valleys begin to form. The earliest channels, not made by hands, but by falling sky. Mountains are born, not with sound, but with shape, as water rearranges the land. Grain by grain, you pass over a wide depression where water gathers faster than it can drain. A lake begins to form, still, silent, reflecting the heavy sky above, and it rains. The pressure from the atmosphere begins to shift. What was once filled with choking gases becomes diluted slowly by the endless fall. Water vapor becomes liquid. Carbon dioxide is absorbed into rock. The sky, thick with ancient breath, begins to thin. This is not a moment, it is a movement, slow, continuous, like your own breath, softening as you relax. The temperature drops a little more, not enough to freeze, but enough to calm. You glide through the lower clouds, their undersides glowing softly from heat still rising from the earth. You watch as rain slides down new cliffsides, carrying minerals and dust. The land is rearranged without sound. No thunder, no lightning, just rain, and you, floating in the middle of it all, feel no cold, no wetness, only rhythm. A deep, steady rhythm, like a lullaby for the land. Like the patter of thought as you begin to dream. Oceans are not yet here, but their outlines are beginning to form. The rain, collecting across the planet, is gathering into low places, into basins and basalts, into the open arms of a waiting world, and somewhere in the deep, where heat still pulses below the crust, tiny chemical reactions are beginning to stir. The water carries more than just coolness. It carries ingredients, elements, hints of things to come, though you cannot see it now. In these quiet pools, the building blocks of life are beginning to float. Not alive yet, but ready. As you hover above one of these basins, you notice something subtle, a shift in the air, a faint smell like mineral and salt. The sky has thinned just enough for light to filter through. Not blue sky, not yet, but brightness, softness. The storm is not over, but it is changing, and you feel yourself sinking deeper into stillness. Your thoughts move like rivers, now not sharp, but meandering. You think of the word erosion, a word that means slow, wearing away, but also slow shaping, sculpting, the way water carries mountains to the sea, grain by grain, the way memory drips quietly through the spaces of your own mind. You are not rushing to sleep. You are being carved into it, softly, completely, and still it rains. 10,000 years, 20, 50 each moment soaked in falling sky, and then, as if by instinct, the planet begins to breathe differently. The clouds break just a little. Light enters. Not full sunshine, but enough, and below, the great basins have filled. The first oceans are here, silent, wide, shimmering with the memory of fire and ash. They hold no fish, no waves, no sound, but they hold promise, and that is enough. These are the oceans that will cradle life, the waters that will split continents, shape tides, nourish forests. But for now, they rest, and you, too, may rest with them. Breathe once more, long, gentle. Deep let your breath fall like rain, soft and steady. Your mind, like earth, is reshaping itself, and the storm is not something to fear. It is how new things begin. The rain that lasted 1,000 years has made its mark, and in the silence that follows, you begin to hear the whisper of life. Chapter 4. The first breaths of life. You are floating now above a quiet earth. The rain has ended. The lava has cooled. The sky, once thick and dark with ash, has softened into shades of pale grey. And beneath you, stretching beyond the horizon, are oceans. Still, endless. Patient they ripple, not with storms, but with slow curiosity. They carry the memory of fire and the promise of breath. This is where it begins, not in forests, not in sunlight, but deep beneath the waves, in the dark. You drift now, slowly, into those depths. Your body is weightless, your breath calm. The light above fades into blue, then black, and the silence here is complete, but it is not empty. Down where no sunlight reaches, where the seafloor still pulses with warmth from the earth's belly, life begins to stir. Not animals, not plants, but something quieter. Tiny shapes, invisible to the eye, not made of bone or thought, but of carbon, water, and code. They do not breathe as you do. They do not move with legs or fins, but they are alive. They are the first cells. You drift beside them now, tiny bubbles of life, clinging to cracks in the seafloor, feeding on heat and mineral, drawing energy not from light, but from the strange chemistry of the deep dot. This is not the life you know, but it is your ancestor. The cells are simple, no organs, no heart, no brain, but inside they carry information, instructions, a map for replication, for memory, for survival. They divide. One becomes two, two become four, not quickly, not dramatically, but steadily, patiently, without thought, without sound. This rhythm, divide, grow, repeat, is the first heartbeat of biology. Breathe with it now. Inhale as the cell gathers, exhale as it divides. You are syncing with something ancient, something universal. These early cells, they are not alone for long. In shallow pools near the ocean's edge, another kind of life is forming. It learns to trap sunlight, to take energy from the sky, to store it, to use it, to grow. Photosynthesis is born, not as an invention, but as an accident that worked. Tiny blue-green organisms, cyanobacteria, float on the water's surface, harvesting light from the sun you cannot yet see. And with each breath they take, they release something new. Oxygen. At first, the gas is dangerous. To early life, it's poison. But Earth does not turn away. It accepts this gift and begins to change again. Oxygen fills the shallow seas. It begins to react with iron in the water, creating rust-red bands in the stone that geologists will one day read like poetry. The sky, thick for so long, begins to clear. Light filters through. The earth exhales for the first time, and so do you, in, out. Let your lungs remember what they are, carriers of ancient air, filters of oceans long gone. Every breath you take tonight is connected to those first breaths of life. You drift now over a coastline, primitive, rocky, quiet. Pools of warm water collect in depressions. Lightning flashes far away, a whisper of energy. And in those pools, simple molecules bump into one another, again and again, again and again. Most collisions lead nowhere, but sometimes, just sometimes, they stick, they twist, they loop, they copy. This is not magic, it is chance. But it is also inevitability. Where there is water, energy, and time, life wants to emerge, and here it does. In these pools, tiny strands of genetic material form. They do not think, they do not plan, but they remember. They remember how to be. This memory, this molecule, will pass through millions of generations, eventually reaching you inside your cells. That same logic still hums. It has changed, yes. It has adapted, but its core, its drive to replicate, to build, to remember, remains. You are not watching the origin of life. You are its echo, and the earth, now calmer, begins to respond. The oceans deepen, the sky lightens, the crust thickens, cools, settles. The magnetic field forms a silent shield that wraps the planet in safety. It protects the growing biosphere from solar winds, from cosmic rays. It is invisible, but powerful, like rest, like sleep. And you, drifting above it all, feel the comfort of protection, the hush of order forming from chaos. Let your body mirror the earth, still, but stirring, silent, but becoming. You float now above a shallow sea, where cyanobacteria form thick, living mats. They trap sediment, layer by layer, creating structures called stromatolites. They are the first monuments of life, built not from stone, but by life itself. They do not rise high, they are not complex, but they are persistent, and their breath, their gentle release of oxygen, will reshape the world. You hover near one. Its surface ripples with tiny motion, cells dividing, light feeding life. You place your thought there, not your hand, not your eye, but your presence. You witness this quiet miracle, and it changes you. In the shallows, the first food chains begin to form. One cell consumes another. Energy flows from sun to molecule to motion. Life becomes more than repetition. It becomes interaction, balance, symbiosis. The oceans stir, the atmosphere shifts, and Earth, once molten and bare, is now alive. Let that word settle softly in your mind, alive, not just in the biological sense, but in the poetic one. The earth feels like it's breathing now, not because of lungs, but because of rhythm. And you, curled beneath blankets or sky, are part of that rhythm. Close your eyes, if they're not already closed. Sink further into the slow unfolding of it all. There is no rush, no goal, only the joy of becoming, and still. The cells divide. The sunlight warms. The oceans whisper. The first breaths of life were not loud. They were soft, invisible, unnoticed for millennia. But they changed everything, and now, as you drift into sleep, you carry their story in every cell. Let that comfort you. Let that slow your thoughts. You are not separate from this planet's beginning. You are its continuation, a ripple in its long, long tide. And tomorrow, in the next chapter, you'll float again through oceans, where new life will rise, and the earth will begin to breathe blue. But tonight, breathe soft, breathe slow, and sleep inside the memory of life's very first breath.